Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me today on my first LinkedIn live stream product event. I'm so excited. We're just going to take a little time this morning to discuss something that I'm passionate about. So in 2015, Inc. magazine, Inc. as in incorporated, not as Inc. as in the tattoo magazine, but Inc. magazine came out with they published a very bold article stating why email will be obsolete in the year 2020. They really thought the whole article was about millennials were not going to do it. They weren't going to do it. It was not going to be a part of business anymore. Well, I don't know about you, but we're almost finishing the third quarter of 2022. And I don't see email going anywhere. In fact, I hear more about it all the time. My name is Krista Scammahorn. I'm an author, I'm a trainer, and I love geeky research and really just connecting with people. So I'd like to show the first slide today. We're going to start talking about why do we need to even stop bad emails, right? So all of this training came about because a lot of the participants in my corporate training classes would come up to me and say things like, this is great. This is great stuff that you're teaching us about stress-free productivity. And however, I'm drowning in my emails. And it seemed to me that the more people that they oversaw, or maybe the larger of their network, the more they felt that feeling of drowning. So I went on a search. I really wanted to go and buy a curriculum. I really just wanted to be lazy about it. Buy a canned curriculum that already talks about what are the good ways to send emails. So I wanted to do that and couldn't find anything. I searched and I researched, and I finally found that the big man upstairs was telling me, Krista, this is for you to do. This is on you. You have the passion and you need to do it. So I've had 78 sessions since 2018. This is also this whole process of this today, and also my email communication boot camp that's coming up in October. I'll tell you more about it later, is done in partnership with Meridian Technology Center out of Stillwater, Oklahoma. So give a big shout out for Meridian Tech. They're a great partner and they're very innovative. But after 78 classes, I started realizing some trends. So I want to talk to you today about the trends and the stuff that I started seeing. Please shout out or chat out where you're coming from today. I did just see our friend Chris Hennessy from the great state of Texas. Don't tell my husband I just said that. And hopefully he's probably watching right now. So I want you to know my purpose. My purpose, though, really is this. I really do care, because if I care about people, then I care when people are stressed out, when they're not focused, and their relationships are not very deep. And that's what can happen when we use a lot of this mode of communication. So what I found in a lot of my classes are there's actual feelings and emotions, if you can believe that, that occur around email. So I want you to think right now, when I say the word email or email communication to you, Which of these 4 feelings or emotions do you associate with? So, do you feel happy and you can't wait to go in and see that cat video or see, those funny babies that are doing funny things and saying funny things? Are you just peaceful, like, oh, I just feel so much love and peace when I get all these howdy doody emails back and just people reaching out to you makes you feel loved? Are you apathetic? Apathetic, I'm not being condescending, but apathetic means you could take it or leave it. Like some people just feel, "Mm, take it or leave it." So, which one do you feel? Do you feel happy, elated? Um, Julie, do we have a way to put the slides back up on the screen? All right, slides are coming back up. So if you would just put in the chat, what are you thinking? What do you think about when you think email communication? What's your gut reaction? Or do you feel like you're drowning? And there's no shame in any feelings. Feelings are just that. They're just the emotion that we're having. So we've got some drownings, definitely drowning. Welcome to my friends from Francis Tuttle and the Technology Centers and Moore Norman. This is what I've noticed so far. In fact, I am working and I'm about to begin working with Robert Mather. He's on here right now. He has a PhD in social psychology and he is a lover of geeky research like myself. And we're going to put all the data together to see what I'm feeling and what feels like's trending in all my classes. What does the real data say? But I'll tell you what my feelings say. And I do have some data from having some live polling through my 78 classes that 50% of the audiences and the participants that I speak to feel like they're drowning. 50%. The other 50% over here make up the other 3. So, if what I want you to to take away from me telling you about feelings is that because there's such a wide span of feelings around one mode of communication, we need to pay attention to this, okay? So we need to pay attention when when I have in-person classes, which I love. I love to get together with departments or organizations who realize that they have a clear problem of being in this mode too often, too much, and they're stressed out. So when I get the groups together, it's interesting. I'll have them line up. Like, okay, on this side, on this wall will have happy. If you are super elated and happy, I want you to get as close to that wall as you can. Midway, about a third way through the room, here's peaceful right here. Here is apathetic. And then the far end of that wall is going to be drowning. So I like people to also see that and represented in bodies that are in the room. And I've had bodies as many as about 75 or 80 at one time that you can clearly see where people fall on the feelings from email. And it's my favorite thing is how shocking it is. How one friend, best friends from work, can be on opposite walls and not even know that they felt that way, because who talks about that? Really, who talks about how they feel when you talk about email? So let's jump right in and talk about what is the first topic I want to talk about today. The first topic I want to tell you about is how you and I, how individuals, how we develop our emails, how often we send them, how often we look at them. How we dictate the email goes out will dictate how many we get back and how awful they are when they come back, or how efficient they are when they come back. So why I put this together was I had a superintendent of a large technology school say to me that she was getting a lot of emails in one day. So I started to go and coach her, just go and figure it out. So every other Friday we'd meet up, I'd go and see what was going on. And she wasn't lying. I had never seen such. She had about 25 people under her that were executive directors, and then they had dozens of people under them. But everyone felt they had to be nice and always respond back, even if there wasn't a question in the email. So when we started looking at her inbox, no lie, she was getting an average of about 700 emails per day. So let's just take that in context. If you got 700 emails a day, could you imagine how you would feel like you were drowning? So you're awake 16 hours of the day and you have 700 emails to engage with, push around, delete. Even deleting takes some time, right? So when we started doing that, I started really digging into, I thought it was all about the inbox. And when people come up to me after classes and they'll say, I need help with my inbox. Really, what I discovered deep down is that you've got to start first with yourself. It's everything in life, right? Self-awareness. What are you doing? What do your emails look like? Are they clear? Are they concise? Are they less than 5 sentences? So people have got to realize the data and everything that is behind. In fact, in 2018, the data came out saying that so over 50% of people, guess what? They read emails, LinkedIn, whatever it is that you're looking at, over 50%. It was 52% in 2018. I do not know right now. I'll have to look at that data, but are looking at it on their phone. So guess what that means? Shorten your emails. Clear, concise. If you have more to add an attachment for those who really do want more information, right? So some reason the slides went small and I went big. I have some wonderful people in the background. That's why I love to surround myself with good people. Meridian Technology Center from Stillwater is here to help me. They're going to get that big in a minute. Okay, so great. What's going on here now? I want to talk about why what you do is so important. So when you send an email, are you being clear and concise? Are you giving the call to action up front? One of the best things I could tell you right now is that I learned this a couple of years ago. Someone sent it to me. I love feedback from people. Said that the new thing that they started doing was BLUF, BLUF. Bottom line up front. So if you're like me in the past, I'd write a diatribe of whole other, all these things and all I was thinking, feeling about a certain subject. And my last sentence would say, oh, and by the way, jump on this meeting Zoom with me at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Well, guess what? You've lost somebody in the 3 to 5 sentences at the top. There's no reason you don't just cut and paste that to the very top. Topic 1 is how you and I send our emails, how often we do it, and first of all, should it even be an email, right? So let's think about this. The feelings, the email data, in fact, McKinsey Global Institute did a research study in 2018, and they said in email communication, we are more combative, we are more negative, and we are twice more likely to lie. We are twice more likely to lie. You know how they talk about internet trolls and how they get on social media and it's so easy to hide behind that persona and just lie and say mean, ugly things. It's the same thing with email. It's just, and and while I'm saying that, let's also realize a lot of people don't remember, or maybe even just maybe you've never heard that email is actually a legal binding document. You could be called in if you're using your company email and you are stating things that you shouldn't be, or maybe anything that you state could be called in or subpoenaed. So you do need to know that. So before you even write an email, you need to ask yourself, is this what I need to be doing, is to be communicating in this way. In fact, if you want to look at the effective percentages of the different modes of communication, we've got over here face-to-face, in-person, video like we're doing right now is 55%. You can hear my voice. You can hear the inflection. You can see my hand gestures. You can see, hopefully, my eyeballs. And it's going to come across more effective, 55-ish%. And this is from Gallup's percentages and their data. And this is always kind of changing just a little bit, but they stay around these same averages. A phone call at least is 38-ish%. So you've got some bad news. You've got a bad diagnosis and you want to share it with your family, your friends, your loved ones. You got to think about that. Is that a thing that you put into writing of an email or text that's only 7% effective? That is a problem, right? That can be a problem. So I want to hear from you today. Do you just put everything out there in emails, or do you sometimes think about, all right, maybe I need to pick up the phone? In fact, I love Chris Hennessy, one of our friends down there, neighbor in Texas, does a lot of live streaming, says he's a fan of live video. At least you can get live, like real time action, reaction. You can hear the inflection. I also want to talk about the next thing, which is topic number 2. Topic number 2 is about groups. It's about associations. It's about organizations. So the first topic was individuals, how you and I send emails, how we decide if it is an email, or maybe you just need to go next door to your neighbor at your office and talk to them. Does it need to be an email? If so, make it short, concise, sweet, to the point, put the bottom line up front. Remember that. So number 1 is you and I have the most control. If you put all the needed information in your first email, you're less likely to get 18 back. Okay. So that's the first secret. Topic number 2 is this. Topic number 2 is us as collectively, as groups. We make it more effective when we work together. Leaders, which I consider all of you on here leaders if you're watching right now, because we still have to at least lead ourselves. Leaders create strategies and think through things. If the latest research, all the latest research in the last 3 years states that globally, the workforce is engaging in their email inbox over a third of their day. Over a third of their day. If you just put 30% times your 40 hours a week, that's 12 hours. So 1.5 work days you're spent totally reading, shuffling, making folders for, deleting, answering emails. So think about your time, right? And guess what? If you are in an office where your best friend at your office loves emails and you are the drowning email queen, well, there could be some problem there, right? So you can have some discombobulation, like there's not understanding. So what I've done over all my 4.5 years now of research is discovered that we need compromise. We need discussion. If we're spending over a third of our day in email, why are organizations ignoring the fact of this? And we're not putting any guidelines, any policies. And I don't know that we need another policy, but we do need some guidelines around how to use this mode of communication more effectively. Okay. So there are ways. So in 2018, I decided to come up with an email manifesto. And yes, this is laminated because I'm really geeky and I love lamination. So it is a 10 questions. and it's a fillable PDF that I use with groups and organizations. Departments can use it. I've done it with different associations that I'm in. Has 10 questions, and I'm going to give you an example. The first one is, to me, one of the most important. The first one is this: what is the proper time period to reply to an email 90% of the time? So I want to hear from you guys. All right, friends, in your mind, everyone's going to have a different opinion. What's the proper amount of time, maybe with your division, your group, your organization? What do you feel like 90% of the time, even if you don't have the answer, but you have to get back with someone? What do you think is the proper amount of time? And if your company already has this set up as an expectation, I would love to hear that, because I never hear that. Johnny says, what are your thoughts on negative email versus positive email? Upfront or lead in? And I lost it. As with letters. What are your thoughts on negative email versus positive content? Johnny, I'm not quite understanding. Upfront or lead in, as with letters. Johnny, maybe a little bit more explanation. Geeky for the win. Within 24 hours is what people say. Chris from More Norman, one day, 24 hours, within 24 hours. Within 24 hours during the work week, if possible. Wonderful. I love that you did specify that within the work week. I'm a big proponent that, and I truly believe, and I think it's GE, don't quote me, but there's a big company who actually shut down their email servers 7 p.m. on Friday night to 8 p.m. or 7 a.m. the Monday morning. Do you know what they said right then? In that statement, and doing that action alone is saying our people, their time, we respect their family, we respect their time as their own, and they don't want people. I have had bosses who I extremely love who will email you on the weekend because they have to get it off their mind. That's nice and lovely. Can you just hold that in a document? Can you schedule that email to go out later? Because what you're saying is, it's more important what I have to say to you than what you are doing with your family or how you're spending your time off of work time. So think about that. If you oversee people, think about that, okay? I love that Sherry says 90% of the time I try to respond that very day. Some, especially client support offices and stuff like that, they really do have to work on within, they call it the sundown rule. So anything that they get that day, they try to finish that day. I love, Julie just says, don't worry about this until you get back into the office. Absolutely. So that way, if they see it in the subject line, Julie, then they, a lot of times I'll have mine on just review, then I won't even worry about it. But I'll tell you the truth, a lot of times I just try not to look at my email at all on the weekend, because I'm just saying to my family, hey, you're not really worth this time for me. I mean, I already work 5 of the 7 days, but let me go ahead and read all my emails while I'm with you, So let's make sure we are answering everybody in case people, okay, so Johnny says a message in a letter with negative content should lead into the bad news. Do you think email should take the same approach? A message in a letter with negative content should lead in the bad news. I don't know if you're talking about the compliment Oreo, or what is it, sandwich, where you have a compliment, negative news, and then compliment. I'm pretty much a straight shooter. Oh, that's so wonderful. I'm a straight shooter, so I just say, hey, let's. And honestly, if it's negative content, I would not do it in an email. I just don't. I think it deserves, if that person, if you care about them, it deserves a phone call or a video chat of some sort. I just don't believe in negative news in an email. Also depends, I guess, on how negative you deem it. I love that Chris Hennessy says, I don't even have work email on my phone. On my phone, when I get to the airport of whatever vacation I'm about to take, it completely comes off my phone because of my tendencies, not because I don't love everybody, because sometimes I can't put the stuff down. Recovering workaholic, recovering control freak needs to take it off. And definitely don't try it on the weekend. Okay, so now think about this. So, topic number 2 is your organization or your association, stuff like that. If we tell people when they come on, we do onboarding, we tell them, here's the policy manual. It's only 93 pages long. And, here's where to park. Here's what to wear, what not to wear. Here's your office hours, butts in seat 8 to 5. You get 1 hour lunch, whatever that is. We tell them all this stuff that means so much to our companies. But yet we forget to talk about expectations for something that we're spending a third of our day. Is it just me? Am I a little crazy? I think that's a little crazy. So the data, the data. I'm going to say most because I'm pondering on one right now that just came out this year, and I'm still looking at their sample size, and I'm going to look at it with Dr. Mather. We're going to synthesize it, but most research says that if you batch your emails, that means you look at your emails a couple times a day. You decide what works for you, right? So my son is a supervisor at a large manufacturer in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and he and I were having this conversation the weekend before last. And he says, "Mom, I can't I can't batch them." And I said, "What do you mean you can't? What does your boss say?" Because everyone always says that. "I can't do that. My boss won't let me." And I always ask the question, what does your boss expect? Does your boss expect, how often does your boss expect you to engage in email communication? What I challenge you with right this minute is to ask your director, your VP, your CEO, whoever you report to, ask them. Because I think you're going to be surprised. First of all, they probably will be happy and elated that you care about your efficiency in your day. But I dare you to ask them, right? So my son and I, we got to talking, and I said, "Son, do you think that you could have an alarm on your phone where you went and pulled up your email every hour then? Try that at first. So if you work 8 hours, maybe you pull it up 7 hours of the day. Then you go down to 6, then you go down to 4, and see if there's really anything that you miss, because I really will doubt that you miss that much." Okay, so on to the next slide. This is really important research. If I say that I care about you and I care about people, then you have to give you the why. Why is this even important, right? So this is why it's important. So the University of California, Irvine, and the Army Research Center, U.S. Army Research Center in California, they did a study. And this is what happened. They did have the test group and they had the control group. And both groups wore heart rate monitors during a work week. So during a work week, the control group went around their day just like normal, engaging a third of their day haphazardly, notifications dinging at them at all times. Maybe the little envelope in the corner saying 1787, 170, whatever it is, they kept doing their normal work. Now, these were data research. Data entry people. So they were at a data research company in California. The test group was not allowed. They had no access to any of the emails on the server for the solid week at home or at work. What happened was there was qualitative results, and there were also the results from the heart rate monitor. So they were looking for heart rate variability, which was going to help answer these 3 things. They were checking for stress levels, relationship quality, and more focus. So what they found overwhelming was that the test group reported that they felt like they had better relationships, that they had a lot more interaction with people that they might not have from across the, from across the cubicles from where they worked. They found time and met in the break room to have coffee and discuss things. They also said over and over again in the qualitative data that they were so focused and they felt like they did so much more work than they normally do because they had more focus. They didn't have things dinging at them all day long. And guess what? If we really care about our people, less stress, right? Isn't that important for our health? So let's think about that. I want to go back to what Julie said a while ago is about having clear expectations is so important. So if you have a group and you say, we really need clear expectations. We want everybody to be able to focus, yes, but we also want you to have better relationships with the people that you work with. You are there a lot of time. You want to be able to know the people that you work with. And less stress, guess what? Your people are not going to miss as much work. You're not going to miss as much work. You're going to be not as stressed out and burn out when you leave work to go home to your community and to your family. So let me ask you out there, do you sometimes leave work and feel so stressed? I want to hear from some of you. So if you're interested in an email manifesto, I want to hear from you too. Then on LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn, or if you're watching from Facebook, we also have people watching from Restream and Julie Griffin's Restream. So I would love to share this with you. I really do. I really want to help people and organizations. If you want the manifesto, it's just a 10 question, really setting expectations with your groups. I would love to send it to you for free. There's no cost at all. But all of this is covered in my email communication bootcamp. It is on my website, just simply kristascamahorn.com. And you can find the email communication bootcamp there. If you're interested, what it is it's a 6-week boot camp. It's 90-minute sessions each Monday, October 10th or November 14th. And what it gives you is a lot of different videos. You'll have white papers. We will have interviews with CEOs and directors who have used this program and how it has helped them be more effective and efficient and work better with their people. We're also going to partner with Meridian Technology Center. So we'll have some live streaming, we'll have some video. We're going to do a lot of fun engagement and interaction. Also, some coaching will go along with that so that we can all learn together. All right, so on to topic number 3, because we're ending it up. This is the last thing on the topic number 3 is this, that I want you to think about your inbox, right? So I talked about batching. What does batching mean? I have some people say that sometimes, so I don't need to just assume that you know what I'm talking about. Batching means you make the choice when to pull up your email and not let notifications, little signals of an envelope and numbers piling up push around your day. A pull system of communication versus a push system, okay? And I would go so far, I'm going to be really gross right now and just tell you that when you just let these emails come at you and come at you, you're letting people word vomit on you all day long. And you've got stuff to do. You were made uniquely to do the purpose and passion of your life. So I want you to think about what time of day would be good for you to pull up your email, spend 20, 30 minutes figuring out what you're going to do with what you have, and then go on the rest of your day. I'll give you an instance of I've worked with all sorts of different timing and scheduling and different things for myself. What works best is I look at my emails at lunchtime. And I even put this in my signature line. And lunchtime to me could be anywhere from 10:30, really some days, but usually 11:30 to 1:30, depending on if I'm out, if I'm traveling, whatever. So lunchtime and end of day. End of day to me could be 3:30, it could be 4:30, so somewhere around there. But I then end my day and forget about email until the next day. Now, not everybody could do that. We're all different. You might be in customer service role and you might have 20 leaders under you, but I will tell you this, you probably don't need to be in it every 10 minutes like the data says. In fact, I say strongly, you don't need to be in it a third of your day. Don't let people push you around. Don't let email push you around. You've got great stuff to do in this life. So, your inbox. Let's talk about the inbox. Inboxes are interesting. Guess what? Here's some more feelings that I was so shocked to uncover. In fact, I was telling Robert, Dr. Mather, I was saying to him that, wow, I can't believe how much shame was out there on people when they were sharing. Here's just a picture right now up there. I know you can't see the questions, but this is what the email manifesto looks like that I give out, and it's a fillable PDF. So you can work with your teams, your associations, your board, whatever it is that your community, maybe you're on an HOA that emails way too much. So think about that. I would love to send that to you. Now, the shame I was talking about was about their email inboxes. I could not believe how many, especially the higher up the ladder, almost the more shame there was, right? So the more people you have underneath you, the more people are emailing you to tell you, have a good day and thank you for your information and howdy doody. Well, you don't always need those, right? And there's no shame in how many you have in your inbox right now. So no shame. In fact, I've seen people, it was interesting. I just got someone sent me a meme night before last that they had like 26,000 and showed me a photo of her phone. And I was like, no shame, sister. No shame in any of this. We're all different. But what I have discovered is there's 3 ways in which most people keep their email inboxes and way that they keep the emails in there. Okay. So there's 3 of them. There's the storage unit. It's just the large storage unit or large filing cabinet that everything goes in. And most of the time, these people don't make folders. And there's lots of good pros and cons to this one, right? There's good pros, but there's also some hard challenges with this one as well. And then there is the to-do list where people make folders over to the side where they keep stuff from their boss, keep stuff from their clients, keep stuff from HR, maybe keep personal stuff that was those cat videos that your mom sent you. So the to-do list is kind of like the inbox are those things that you haven't pondered yet or you haven't decided exactly what you want to do with them yet. Okay. So the to-do list, a friend of mine calls it her tickler list. So whatever you call that, it's just stuff that you haven't engaged with yet. The other stuff has either been deleted or stored away in a folder, a corresponding folder. All right. So then the last way is inbox 0. And yes, I mean 0 in your inbox. Now that is always a moving target. Always. So this is very, very hard. It came into vogue with David Allen, who wrote the book, Getting Things Done. So if you're ever interested in that, he had to rewrite the book or update his book and republish it in 2015 because there was this thing called email communication that lots of people were asking questions about. So I want to ask you right now, there's no shame because I know what the data and research is on this. They all have pros and they all have cons, all 3. And I go through this in detail in my email communication boot camp. In detail of if you like the way you keep it, that's great. Here's some good ways to also make it a little better. Tell me, how do you keep your email inbox? Is your email inbox a large storage unit where everything just comes in? Is your email inbox a to-do list where some things have been filed, but a lot of things that are just in the inbox are things that you still have to do an action for. And then what about inbox zero? Do we have anybody on here? And I thought I saw someone earlier that said something about inbox zero, which I was surprised. To-do list. Somebody said something about inbox zero earlier, or that they used to. If so, I'd like to hear from you again. Yeah, and I love what Leah said. It's a merging of both. Sometimes I see a lot of people say, well, I'm kind of a hybrid and or seasonal, right? So if you're going through a bunch of stuff, I'm working with Meridian Technology Center. We're doing a lot of things. We're looking at Restream. We're looking at different projects together. Then we will have, I will have a lot, like it's just a storage unit until I have time to get to it, right? And then once you have time to get to it, then you will go ahead and I will make it my to-do list. And I've been in seasons of inbox zero. So it kind of is seasonal for me and what I'm working on as well. I love what everyone's saying. You know, I did it earlier. I used to do inbox zero. I'll tell you, even inbox zero, you can fool yourself that you're doing real work. If you haven't read the book by Cal Newport, Deep Work, he talks about this phenomenon of people shuffling around email all day and disguising that as real work. So, and I know Meridian Tech even has a class on that. So how do you like that commercial, my friends? So let's move on to something else that's really interesting. Well, I'm going to tell you what I found from my polling. So I'll tell you what I found from my polling is this. The large storage unit is typically about 65%, 70% of all my audience participants. So, and there's lots of pros and cons. I won't go into it here. Then the to-do list is about 20% to 25%. And then inbox zero is always 5% or less. Love it. So Johnny does storage and to-do list, task 365 to do. And I'm starting to use more tasks. So I need to take a class from Johnny at Metro Tech. So we're going to move on to the next slide, which we're talking about something that I discovered when I was doing all my research. People are saying how, and I coach about a dozen people now, used to be a little bit more, on email and their inboxes, which really means everything, how also you develop emails and work with your teams. But there are 4 things that I discovered that we all can do more of, okay? So delete and delete quickly. If I can get anything through to you right now, is to delete it. Not only delete it, then delete your delete box after that, because hopefully you know and realize that once you delete it, it then goes to a delete file. So it's still there. Now, if you are just not sure of that delete action, you can know that it's still over there in the delete file. Maybe give it 24 hours, a week, whatever you decide. I have all my delete file go out every Friday. It's all deleted every Friday. So delegate. Too many times we feel as leaders like it's all on us. If somebody emails me and asks me a question about a class at Meridian Technology Center, guess what? I'm not the expert there. So I will delegate by doing an email introduction. That is one thing that COVID did really well and made a lot of us get good at, was introducing people and delegating to the right source. So if somebody wanted to know about a customized class at Meridian Technology Center, I would delegate that and I would send that on and do an email introduction to Marcy Luter and to Julie Griffin. They're the experts on that. And then I would excuse myself. And then, you know what else I would do? Delete that email. It would be gone after that. So delete, Delegate. Move it on. You're not the one to do it. Move it on. Do it. If you hear nothing else that I've said today, if you get an email that wants an action and it will take you less than 2 minutes to do it right that minute. 2 minutes is an efficiency rule. It is an efficiency threshold in which it's going to take you more time to reread that email later in your email inbox, or to even copy and paste that to a to-do list or a task list. Guess what? Just do it. And that is also something from David Allen in his book, Getting Things Done. Sherry, thank you for asking that. Is inbox zero a reality? Only for it's a moving target, as David Allen says. It's always a moving target. So if you like a super huge challenge, then go for it. But it can be really hard to keep at that target all day long when we have real work that we need to do. Okay. Lastly, is disengage. If there is one thing that I find on all of the people that I'm coaching on their inboxes, this is the first place I look when I know they get 700 a day. And this is what we do. We look at those things that are marketing or companies. You know, you go to a conference or a convention and you have to give your email because you want to win that super duper cool latest, greatest iPad or microphone or something like that. Well, guess what? Disengage means to unsubscribe, and do it quickly. You guys, I've unsubscribed to places and then went back later and subscribed again. But unsubscribe. I understand that sometimes believe me, I want the best deal, right? So my husband was online last night and he was looking to buy something. And I said, oh, honey, you got to go and make an account on there, put it to your junk email because you could get 20% off. 20% is big when you're spending a couple $100s, right? He goes, yeah, but I don't want those emails. I said, hey, that's easy. Just disengage. Once you get your discount and you get your item, just disengage. Okay. So these 4 Ds, if nothing else today, these things will help you. And if you want this in a PDF or anything, you can email me. You can message me on LinkedIn. You can do any of those. Thank you so much. I'm going to tell you, so it's 51 minutes. And what I know for sure is that you have real work and passion to do. But I want you, in conclusion, to know this. My inspiration is that we are all catalysts for change to our culture. So how are we going to be catalysts for change if we don't start it? So start today realizing, is this really an email? What I need to tell someone. Do I need to just walk over there? Can I Teams chat with them? Can I Zoom chat with them real fast? What can you do? Especially the more important it is, the more you need to see their eyeballs. Even a voice inflection, you could get a lot done in a 5-minute phone call versus 18 emails. I promise you. Marcy and Luder and I are good at that. We'll just pick up the phone sometimes and know we can get something taken care of in 5 minutes. Okay. But what I really hope for all of you is deeper relationships, better focus on your work, and better relationships. So better relationships. Oh, less stress. How are you going to have better relationships? Have less stress. So, challenge to you. Can you batch your emails? Can you try it today? Can you try it all week? I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you, good, bad, or ugly, what you think, maybe some things that you've tried. And know this, if you want to dig deeper, if you want to do it with your team or just you yourself, I have dozens of people who are wanting to do something a little deeper, but in a group setting. So what we decided that we would have an email communication boot camp. So they're 90 minutes every Monday morning, 10 to 11:30 Central Standard Time. And what it is that we can chat about it. We're going to have lots of white papers. We're going to have lots of templates to use. We're going to have the email manifesto. So we'll have things that you can use and use with your teams so that you can all have the better focus, better, deeper relationships, and less stress. Thank you all so much. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would love to hear from you. And go to my website, KristaScamahorn.com. It's new. Thank you, Stephanie Jewett, my new marketing director, who just rocks. Thank you so much. All right, you guys go and have a blessed week. And I want to see you doing real work. No pushing around by your emails. Thank you, guys.